are the people of Mercury. I am your interplanetary host, Travis Montgomery. These views reflect one planet and one planet alone.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Mercury's Cast. I am your host, Travis Montgomery. Today, Kenny is gone. He went somewhere else. He doesn't love us anymore. And we have a returning guest and a brand new guest, Darin Holiday. So maybe the coolest name ever. How are you feeling today?
All right. Now that I'm home and not grinding out my my paycheck.
I'm sure you got a pretty good paycheck going on there.
I don't know. The bigger the paycheck, the more in debt, or not in debt, but the more bigger the toys.
Yeah.
Oh, broke.
I hear that. Rob.
What's poppin'?
How are you doing? No one calls you Rob Thornton. They call you Black Rob, but, we can just call you Rob.
They just call me Rob, B-Rob, whatever.
B-Rob?
Yep.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing stellar, brother.
Did you work today?
Yep. Work at elementary school with a whole bunch of, about 50 kindergartners, and
I don't know.
It's pretty cool, so.
Right on. I was working today. I had to go to Wasco. It's about a 30-minute drive from here.
Did they have chicken and waffles?
No, not Roscoe. Wasco.
Oh.
W-A-S-C-O. Most famous probably for the prison that holds there. I know a couple people that have gone through there.
Yes.
But, so you work with the children. I think have the perfect personality for that. What are some of the perks of working with the youngsters?
Pretty cool because in the summers you get to go on dope field trips. Work for the school district, so you get every holiday off, and you get a grip of paid vacation. And when I eat lunch every day, it's like hanging out with old people. It's just a whole bunch of 5-year-olds who just sound like old people, It is. I don't know. You don't have to deal with the politics of the day or anything. You don't have to deal with any crazy convo. You're just talking about why Frozen sucks compared to Lion King. You know what I mean? Like,
nice.
why the new Star Wars series, holds weight or doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, I can just, you just get away from all the drama of everything.
So do they watch the Star Wars Rebels cartoon? Because that's pretty big with my son. He loves that.
They watch Star Wars Rebels. I watch Star Wars Rebels. I'm Star Wars everything, so I've seen everything Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars geek. And, I went to Star Wars Con last year. Star Wars Con was legit. And, they're into Star Wars Rebels and that new Ninja Turtle show, which is dope if you don't watch it.
Are they coming out with a new season of the Star Wars Rebels?
Yeah, it starts, I want to say 2 weeks. And if you read the Star Wars books, General Thrawn is going to be on this season.
Wow, you are into it.
Let me know if I got too geeky for you.
No. I was way into Star Wars at one point after after episode 6, which is
Return of the Jedi.
I started reading the book for 7 and 8, but that was so long ago I can't even remember. And 1, 2, and 3 were cool. A lot of people like to criticize it, but I still had some fun watching it, and I had a lot of fun watching the new one, which some people didn't like that much.
I'm with you there, man.
What about you, Darin? Star Wars at all?
Oh, yeah. Grew up playing stuff. The new one pissed me off.
Really?
Yeah, the middle ones were okay, but the newest one, I didn't like how they made her just all of a sudden start using the Force and do things without training. That kind of annoyed me. But overall, it was good.
Yeah, she did have zero learning curve. She went from zero to fucking you up.
Again, starts doing her shit, and I'm like, wait a minute, Luke spent freaking
3 movies. Yeah.
In the freaking woods with Yoda doing all this shit, and all of a sudden you can start moving stuff. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's true, but I think that's kind of what aura or like her thing is that she's so powerful that she can learn on the fly like that when she needs to. But I understand,
That's a pretty good point. You cannot debate that point. That was pretty good. I still love the movie, but that was a pretty good point.
Man, when I saw my brother who's passed, me and him we were huge into Star Wars, and so it kind of rings home for me. But when I saw Luke at the end, I got goosebumps. It was like ooh, and then you start reading into the potential for the next episode, and who knows what the hell they're gonna do. But anyways, so should we just dive right into Donald Trump?
Yeah, let's do it.
And is he backtracking on his immigration issues? Darin, why don't you go ahead and answer that one first?
I don't think he is. He's trying to work. I don't think he's backtracking. A lot of these media guys and all this stuff, he's backtracking. He's backtracking because he said this, because what were his exact words, not the media words. Something about softening up his stance on the people that are here. And then they took that and, he's giving up his immigration, this and that and the other. No, he's not. He's just thinking outside the box a little bit. And, okay, there is 11 million. 1984 numbers, 11 million people. Realistic today numbers, probably closer to 20.
There's 11 in LA.
Yeah, right. And it was 84 or 86. I've been 86. Oh, whatever. Either way, it's back from the 80s is where they get that figure from. And you can't just go hauling people up out of here. So he's just kind of opening the doors to maybe working with them a little bit. I mean, the guys that's getting caught running the stop sign with no papers, you're gone. Bye. You broke the law. We caught you. See ya. The ones that survive the time clock and don't get caught and stay here long enough, as they get their citizenship and then they have citizenship, hey, whatever. But the ones that are out breaking the laws, besides being illegal, they get caught, they're gone. They're the ones that survive the gauntlet of ditching, like I said, the time clock of beating their citizenship. Whatever, they stay.
Yeah, that's cool. I think, and when he was talking about deporting everyone that's here, I really think that's impossible. I mean, what are you going to do? Broadcast it on TV or like the freeway billboards or, the billboards that you're just going to say, all right, if you're illegal, please report to the nearest bus station so we can take you out of here. I mean, it's just not going to happen, and the manpower that it would take would just be crazy, and people wouldn't listen to that anyways. So
I've never heard him say that he's going to deport all 11 million or he's going to do this or do that. He has said that he's going to triple the the ICE forces, the immigration forces, and the border and custom or the border agents, all that stuff. You can triple those. He put those on. I mean, you still can't go door to door and go looking for these people. The object is to, like I said, you ran a stop sign. Oh, you don't have any papers? Come with me. Stupid stuff. Oh, you're drunk in public? Oh, come with me. Oh, you beat your wife or whatever. You got in a fight and got cops' attention, and now we find out you're illegal? Come with me. You can't hire a task force to go hunt these people down. You can, but you're only going to get this much, dude. You got freaking this much to deal with. So,
yeah.
Well,
I kind of agree.
I don't think that running a stop sign, even if you're here illegally, should be grounds for deportation under a new policy. I mean, I don't know. Rob, what's your stance on it?
I agree. I think if you get arrested for something that's a pretty, a crime, and find out you're not a citizen, and it's a, decent enough crime, you know what I mean? I think we should be looking into deporting people like that. But for the most part, I think this whole conversation about this, immigration thing is one of those points that we're like focusing on something that's not realistic. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's impossible to deport all these people unless you have like a Gestapo-like roundup of people, which is not going to happen. It's impossible to completely cover the borders. You know what I mean? They've gone through and shown you reasons why. So, you know what I mean? I think this is one of those things where he found a hot, big topic that people are willing to focus on, but I don't even think it's anything realistic. And that's why it's just like, I can't believe it's lingered this long, because it's, you know, like, there's no way that he's reasonably going to get those people out. I think it's just one of those political topics. That's a really good thing to get people thinking politically when you're in a campaign, you know, environment. But I honestly don't think it's anything realistic or anything that's, like, if we really thought about our lives, and we live in California, you know what I mean? Like, how much of our life is affected by illegal immigration? I mean, you know, yes, but not me personally, you know what I mean? Like, they're, you know, my school district, I don't have to deal with people who are illegal immigrants taking my job. You know what I mean? I went to a school in East LA, and, you know what I mean, there was plenty of illegal immigrants out there, but I never really had issues with anybody. I had issues with just people, you know, with assholes. You know, like, it didn't matter if it was an illegal or somebody from here. Just assholes were the people that were bothersome to me, you know, like, so, I mean, I don't know. To me, there's so much more things that they could be focusing on, like this war on drugs and shit like that. Like, let's fucking end that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of thing that's reasonable to me. That's going to help clear some of this crime up. But I don't know. I don't think the rounding up illegals and sending them back is A, going to ever happen, and B, is, you know what I mean, is legit. Like, you know, is our legit issue right now. I just think it's one of those, you know, like, it's a really good, hot, big topic, but let's, you know, reasonably, how effective is that going to do anything? You know what I mean? Like, there'll be another group that comes in. You know, this is, every country has this thing. You know what I mean? Like, bottom level jobs are always taken by illegal immigrants. If it's not Mexico, then the next group's going to be Russians, or it'll be, you know what I mean, people from the, you know, South Africa, or, you know, who knows where they'll come from. You know what I mean? But that's what happens. Like, that's every country on the planet. Like, you know what I mean? There's some sort of lower group of illegal immigrants that occupy cheaper labor, because that's, you know, just kind of how things work. You know, it's not like something specific to our country. It's everywhere. You know, so to me, something reasonable to take care of is, let's start legalizing all these drugs, dude. Let's start getting that. Let's get this prohibition. You know, let's start taking power away from the gangs. Let's start taking power away from these, you know, these Mexican warlords or these cartels or these Colombian groups. You know what I mean? Like, if we do that, let's start clearing our prisons out. Then, to me, we alleviate a lot of issues that we're having right now. You know, like, that takes care of a lot of things. You know, if you just start doing that. And it's been proven in other countries that you can do this, and it doesn't affect it. But decriminalizing stuff, to me, that ends so many issues. And I really wish that I could hear Trump and Hillary, you know, talk about this. You know what I mean? Because that'd be so much more like, oh, dope, let's really want to go with this. Let's get some stuff going, you know, like, let's make some, you know, progress. We see, you know, I don't know. But so that's how I feel about this immigration thing. I apologize if I filibustered.
No, go for it. Darin, it seemed like when he said that the illegals don't affect our lives, seems like you might have had a counter to that.
Yeah, he mentioned being in the school district and this, that, and going to school with them.
Maybe sit up a little closer to the mic on your computer, if you could. I just want to be up so we can hear you.
You mentioned going through the school district and having people going through the school district that happen to be illegals and this, that, and the other. Who pays that? This guy right here. That's right in my life. That affects my life. Period. There is no ways around it. They wouldn't be going to school if I wasn't working my ass off for here coming into criminally coming in. Now, I got no problem with people coming in, but do it legally, because I know your intentions if you come in legally. These guys skipping the lines, that's a problem.
Okay, well, to counter that, I mean, all three of us here, I mean, we were so fortunate to be born, you know, 190-something miles north of an imaginary line that's called United States of America. But just imagine if the two of you or the three of us were all born below that line in a second world nation with the shit that goes on in there. And you didn't have the means at any point because of just where you live and because of how things going. You don't have any way of getting to this country legally, because it is not an easy process when you're over there. The people that do come over here legally, I mean, illegally and legally, will tell you the process is crazy. And if you have kids, like, you're not going to try to come to America and make a better life for your kids. So I have zero issue that if pennies out of my taxes are going towards educating people. Because to me, the best idea to do is to educate as many people as possible. Because the better we educate people, I would rather have educated illegal immigrants than uneducated illegal immigrants. Because if they're educated, then they're going to be trying to do things like empower themselves, and maybe they can put those brains towards helping things in this country. Maybe they invent something, or maybe they put it towards something. But if they're uneducated and they're out there just causing trouble, to me, that's where issues start. So to me, they're here no matter what, whether they're educated or uneducated. But I would rather have them educated. That way, they can start becoming productive members of the United States. Because regardless of where you came from, people are people. You get educated or uneducated, but you start becoming productive. You go through our system, you start socializing. That's a lot better than you being on the street, not being able to.
There is a lot of the drug culture that ends up spewing over from Mexico to do with the cartels or the cartel lifestyle, or acting like you are part of that with the gang activity. And I believe, I don't know the exact numbers, but a lot of the people coming over are running drugs. And there's another thing to be said for the growth in population for Americans. Yeah, I do have a ton of sympathy for poor people in Mexico and poor people in Africa and poor people in these war-torn countries in the Middle East, but there's still only a limited number of resources in America that we have to fend for our own selves. So at what point do we stop sacrificing? I mean, is there a cutoff or a number in your brain that you could say, okay, here's where enough would be enough? Because we can't just take on every single poor person in America, because then that is going to drive we're going to be poor. So
100%. You're right. I think the best thing, I mean, if we really wanted to do it, is help Mexico improve themselves. They're having a big drug cartel problem. A big reason because of that is because it's so profitable to traffic drugs to America. You know what I mean? Like, a major portion of their issues is because of us, because of our illegal drug laws here. You know what I mean? Like, if we didn't have illegal drugs here, then those cartels in Mexico wouldn't be, you know what I mean, so big time. And then those cartels, you know what I mean? So if we had a reasonable idea of sitting down trying to figure out how to improve our neighbors next to us, then it wouldn't be so, badass for them to come over here. You know what I mean? Like, if the house next door to you was run down, you know what I mean, you could either let them keep running down the neighborhood, or you could try to help them build themselves so that all of you guys profit. You know what I mean? Like, having that, I'm not saying we need to put money into there, but I'm just saying, like, there's certain things I think we can do that could really help out, that would help get them going. I mean, it's at a boom, they're doing well in certain parts of Mexico. Like, I do think that we have an altered view of Mexico, but, near the border and stuff like that, it's probably just not as great as, it is on the other side. And we have a lot of great opportunities in this country. And, it is odd because a lot of, we all came here based on some sort of form of immigration. So it's hard to be at a point where you say, hey, when do we stop this idea? But I think the rest of the world is catching up, and I think it's going to lessen, but I don't know. I have no answer to that. But I do think that our drug laws really could help out, everybody, if we just, ended that prohibition. I think that's such a major issue in this country, and that extends to so many different places, and so many horrible people are making money and murdering people. I think Chicago's major issue is illegal drugs. Baltimore's major issue is illegal drugs. Mexico, like, so many people are in this web. All our prisons are filled with people associated with drugs.
Okay, Darin, I want to get your thoughts on decriminalization, but even if I don't think Chicago's problem is that drugs are illegal. I think there would still be problems in Chicago even if drugs were legal, because there'd still be a huge black market for it. And I don't know, decriminalization in Chicago, I don't think that would fix it. But Darin, what do you think about decriminalization? Should people be able to smoke meth if they wanted to?
As a conservative, I'm all about freedom and liberty. If they want to do that, that's fine. But as soon as they start putting others around them in danger, which, I'm sorry, if you're smoking meth, guess what? You're putting people around you in danger, because they jacks you up. But things like that. Now decriminalizing it, that's all choices. They have a choice to make. These are our laws. You want to smoke meth, fine. These are our laws. When you get caught, you're going to own up to it. There's a reason why we have these laws. It's dangerous. People get addicted. Then their little brother gets addicted. Then his cousin gets addicted. And it just keeps going from there, and the problem keeps growing. You lock these people up. The problem is we're letting them out too early. Straight up. They're not straight. The law, okay, so the law states, all right, you get 10 years. Well, we're going to make excuses. We're going to feel sorry for them. This, that, and the other. We're only going to give you a year and frickin', go sweep the streets for 6 months. After he stole somebody's bike, stuff out of the car, this, that, and the other. It creates a problem because they get to a point where they don't want to work and all they want to do is work for the drug. That's it. And they go steal stuff. No. No. Totally against decriminalizing. What? I can see. Been there, done that. Smoked a little weed in my life. All right, fine. Just sit at the TV and eat a couple of gummy bears. Big freaking deal. You want to get but, stuff like heroin, meth, all this stuff.
Well,
acids and shit and make people go jump off of things and think they can fly and
Okay, well, the problem with sending people to jail because of a substance is that prisons are for profit these days, and the unions are making money off of people being incarcerated, and it seems, I think drugs, even including heroin and maybe cocaine, get a bad rap. If you're doing meth, then you're usually probably pretty unhappy. And I live in Bakersfield, and Jesus Christ, there's so many people on meth out here. It's really commonplace. I'm more of it's your body. You do what you want with it. I think a lot of these drug laws were put into place to lock people up so that the lobbyists and stuff like that can make money. And I don't know. I think a lot of drugs, they're not as bad for you as a lot of people would think. And I don't know. It's tough. There's some countries out like for instance Holland, and I think Argentina recently.
Portugal, I think, did it.
Yeah, Portugal. They decriminalized everything, and like crime went down big time somehow.
Yeah, not only that, but when they catch people that are having issues with it, instead of taking them to jail, they take them to clinics and get them help. You know what I mean? And since you take the black market out of it, then everything is regulated. Everything is, you're getting pure stuff. You're not getting that crap made in somebody's backyard in Barstow. You know what I mean? Like you're getting some legit stuff. You know what I mean? They're educated on it, and just think of it. It's people are already doing it. You know what I mean? Like if you legalize meth today, I'm not gonna go try meth. If you legalize crack today, I ain't gonna go do crack. You know what I mean? Like it's the people that are doing it are still gonna do it. But what you take out of it is gangs fighting over it, gangs making major profits off of it. You take the transportation out of it. You take
who's going to sell it? Walmart? I mean, how are you going to? You're going to go buy.
We have weed shops. What happened with weed? You know what I mean? I mean, again, I would have to look more into what Portugal is doing and how it's distributed there. But I'm just saying, like, there's ways to do it where we're not hauling people to prison, like you say, where people are profiting off of prisons, where it pays them to make money off the prison, and then all the crimes that are associated with it. How many people are murdered based on drug things? How many people are robbed, like you just said, based on the drug things? You know what I mean? Like, so meth houses, all these crazy things. And I'm with you, man. I can't stand tweakers just as much as the next person, or crackheads, like they both affected me. But that's why we have laws. That same with alcohol. Alcohol, people do some of the worst shit on the planet on alcohol. But we have laws, and when you cross those fucking lines, we have some strict-ass goddamn laws. And I think the laws should be equally as strict for fucking all of those drugs that we deem are horrible. You fucking go out on meth and you steal somebody's stuff, and we test and we find out, hey, you're going to spend some time in jail. You know what I mean? We're going to have some super strict laws if you abuse these drugs.
But not just for having it in your pocket.
Yeah. But if we find you just having this in your pocket, listen, instead of driving you to a jail, homie, we're driving you to a clinic and helping you taking you to get some help. You look like you're strung out and you need a hand.
Yeah, you need to serve about 30 days
with that. There's an issue with that. We're a constitutional republic. Freedom and liberty take precedence. You can't force anybody to go to a clinic. That's got to be on their own recognizance.
I mean, so maybe not that. Maybe you don't force them to go to a clinic, but sitting them in prison, I mean, treating them like they're a criminal for doing a drug.
Yep.
And based on what? Like, how many people are in jail based on weed? I mean, these are based on archaic laws, and who's to say, like, what drugs you should and shouldn't be allowed to? Like, the people are dying way more from prescription drugs than any of these other drugs. And alcohol is still worse than all of these. Like, when you talk to any given doctor, the only drug that if you quit it cold turkey, one of the only drugs that if you quit it cold turkey, and you're addicted to it, and that can kill you is alcohol. You can die if you're addicted to alcohol. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like heroin, meth, those, if you just drop those one day, you don't die. So you know what I mean? Like there's weird levels as to why things are legal.
No, heroin is, you can have a seizure and die from that one too.
No, go look it up. Dropping heroin is, the heroin addiction is just like having a common flu. And doctors have gone through that. Like there's issues and it sucks and it's horrible for people. But the issue that I'll have with it is just like a really horrible version of the flu for a week. But it's not. But alcohol kills your liver and it fucks it up and it poisons your liver. When you go off alcohol, it can destroy your liver, and that's why people have to get weaned off of it and all that horrible stuff. That's what happened to Eric. That's what happened to that guy from the Stern Show, the midget guy. Hank the Angry Dwarf, if you ever watched that. He got off alcohol and he died because of that. And he started,
Well, he was addicted to it and he slowly, his body was
poisoned his liver.
But the heroin thing, I know people that I went to high school with, I'm not going to mention any names here, thought it was coke and snorted it. Died.
Yeah, well, that's,
That's a mistake that can be made. That's why it's illegal. That's a death.
But again, that's because it's illegal. Now think of it like this. If this was in a properly labeled container, would they have died from that? If this was something that was regulated and something where they got it from a place where they labeled it kind of like weed in stores, then would they have taken that? It was probably in some sort of baggie and ambiguous because it was a black market thing. If this thing was something that was legal and stuff, it probably would have been in something just like pills. Pills aren't in unlabeled containers.
You can't really... You don't know what strain it is.
I mean, think of all the prescription drugs you get. Prescription drugs you get are all in labeled containers. They're all in something that have a description on them and everything. So if your friends that had, unfortunately took the wrong drugs, if that drug was legal at that time or some sort of regulated where they went to a store and they picked it up and it had a label on it and it had a description on it and it had maybe even, just something like that, that would have been a lot different. They wouldn't have noticed that. Like, again, it's the fact that it was a black market that maybe didn't help this situation out.
Well, if it's in the medicine cabinet, then maybe your kids are going to get their hands on it, or if it's that easily accessible, somebody young and dumb is going to get their hands on it, and something bad can happen that way too.
But Vicodin is just as bad. Vicodin, all those things that are prescription drugs you don't want your kids to get. It's
really hard to OD on Vicodin, though. You've got to take a lot.
Same with you don't want your kids taking any of those drugs. So if you're a parent, and me working with kids for the last 14 years, me, screaming to parents, please keep all prescription drugs, any sort of drugs, out of the reach of kids. A medicine cabinet maybe isn't the best place for kids. My mom used to have Xanax in her cabinet as a kid, and thankfully I just never wanted to take Xanax as a kid. But my mom used to just keep her Xanax all around the house, but I just was never interested in doing that. But as a parent, you should keep those things in a lockbox just like you keep a gun in a lockbox. Those things can kill your kid if your kid gets them and abuses them.
Well, there's a lot of bad parents out there.
Ritalin is properly labeled, so what do we do about the kids cutting it up, jacking it up, and snorting it right up their nose? They find their ways. A lot of them are dying from that, and it's properly labeled.
Yeah, well, they're dying from it because they're not educated about it. If we had better education in schools, if the DARE program as a kid, like when I went to middle school, they showed us a video of a kid smoking weed and dying. I swear to God on my entire life.
Way. But it wasn't real. It wasn't real.
No, it wasn't a real video. It was a dramatization. The education system on these drugs is so horrible. Nobody's giving you proper education on it. Our school system should be educating kids on it. The DARE program is a joke. I mean, go look at it. If we educated kids on this, they're so scared to educate kids on it because they think if they're educated on it, kids are going to go out and do it. But if we actually had an education system that educated kids on that and true sexual sex ed, I'm pretty sure we'd have a lot less teen pregnancies and we'd probably have a lot less overdoses if kids actually knew the true story behind drugs. But we literally shield kids from the time that they're born to the time they're 18 from this, and then they start getting into life and experimenting, and they learn from their friends instead of learning from their adults and the people that they trust. They're not learning from teachers, they're learning from the internet and other idiots their age and older brothers. But you know what I mean? Like, if we just educated these kids better in school and had a really legit drug program instead of this stupid one where we just, feed these kids lies all the time or just watered down facts, then I think that would help these kids that are overdosing on Ritalin. I do agree that's an issue, though.
It's not the government's job has no business doing my parenting for me. It is my job to take responsibility on myself to raise my child and explain to my child that stuff. Government's responsibility is the basic education, math, English, stuff like that. They have no business teaching my kid about sex. They want to give me a wager? Okay. Or a waiver? I'll think about it. I'm going to look it over and see what's going on. That's my place. I don't think that comes down to parenting right there. I
don't think so, though, because a lot of parents aren't educated on that kind of stuff. Hence why they're parents sometimes. So a lot of parents had accidents because they weren't educated on sex ed. I mean, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of knowledge that comes with sexual education. There's a lot of knowledge. And we should learn from educated people about that. We should learn about, the statistics of pullout methods. We should learn about the consistency and how, effective a condom is. We should learn how to put on a condom. I mean, that is something that somebody should teach you, and a lot of parents have issues talking to that to kids. I mean, a lot of parents would love to give the school the opportunity to. Now, is it the school's responsibility? No, and especially with drugs. It is every parent's responsibility to educate their kids on drugs. But again, every parent isn't educated themselves on drugs. Every parent doesn't go to college or go on the internet and research what every drug is and the effects of them and how, legit they are. A lot of parents don't have time. A lot of parents work so much they don't have time for that. So I really think it is a cool option. Maybe a parent can say yes or no on this, but I think it's a good option for our education system to offer that. We educate kids on history, on math. Well, I think something more important than history sometimes, or equally as important as learning history, is learning how to prevent yourself from having a child as a teenager. Learning how to teach somebody how to prevent from getting diseases and how to spread sexual diseases, and learning how to not overdose on drugs. I mean, I think that's a major life thing that most people should learn, and not every parent is educated. My parents weren't educated enough to tell me about that kind of stuff. My mom knows a lot. She's really smart, but she doesn't know, she was a single mom. She doesn't know how to tell me how to put a condom on, and there's a lot of single moms out there that wouldn't know how to tell their son that, So, I mean, I'm not saying do it at 5th grade, but I'm saying maybe, when you do have sex ed, because we still do give these kids sex ed. We all had sex ed in high school. It was just a piece of crap. It was just horrible. It was horribly taught. You know what I mean? It had no substance to it.
I don't agree with the school doing that, but I kind of at this point don't have a choice either. The government's going to do what the government's going to do, and they're going to put in all these programs, yada, yada, yada. And honestly, if they're going to do it, it should be before 5th grade, because it ain't like when we went to school, man. The internet's around. These kids know everything. Just trying to look right up. Right there.
That's the scariest thing. I'm with you. I mean, I'm not sure if you're a parent, but I know Travis is. I wouldn't know how to tell or think about what to do with the internet. The internet's the scariest fucking thing on the planet.
Keep my children far away from the internet until they are ready. And my 11-year-old is not ready to crash course in the internet. I monitor what she watches on YouTube. Put it that way.
Yeah, you should, man. There's so much stuff out there that, I mean, I'm not a parent yet, per se. I just got engaged. We'll see what happens. I managed
Congratulations.
to do my thing and not having any kids, but now it's time. Maybe soon. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the internet's the scary one, and these kids, I work with middle school kids during the summer, and even if we have blocks, so these kids know how to get around the blocks to get on dirty shit on the internet, and they know how to look it up. They're fucking geniuses at a young age. Like, we think kids are all stupid nowadays, you don't know anything. These kids know how to manipulate a computer early on.
And I think that goes back to good parenting. I'm sorry, go ahead, Darin.
Well, I agree with them. I'm just saying they can work their way around a computer really great, but they can't tie their own damn shoes or start a lawnmower at the same time.
Hey, get this fact. This is a true fact, okay? At every school in my school district, we have clocks on the wall, regular clocks, okay? There's not a kid out there that can tell you the time on a clock. They all have digital phones, and they all just go look for a digital clock. None of them. Zero. That's my trivia. At the end of the day, I'll just point to a clock and be like, somebody tell me what time it is. And none of them can do it.
Bad, man.
But they all...
That might be a lost technology, though. We kind of don't need them anymore.
Yeah, it's like cursive writing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we do. On the everyday basis, we don't, but those regular old clocks can do a lot of things that most people wouldn't think about, like they can be used as a compass, they can be used as sundials, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with that.
Yeah.
And I went to buy, speaking of clocks, before school started for my 11-year-old, I went to get an alarm clock for her so she can start getting up on her own, which props to her. She gets up before we do, and because she knows she's a slow starter in the morning, so whatever. And then I was looking at the clocks, and then I was like, oh, this one has AM radio. That's cool. I'm gonna get that one. And I was like, I don't even have a radio in my house. Like, what if everything went off and all I could do was, if there was an emergency and there was no TV, there was no internet, and the only thing that was up was a radio, I would be, oh yeah, and this guy could talk to people on Venus. I would be the only asshole in the neighborhood that didn't have a freaking radio in the house to listen to what the hell's going on in the world. So I got the AM. It was just like a big like WTF, because if the electricity goes out and you have a battery powered radio, well then you're now in today's world you're a step ahead of the game, and I didn't even have that until now.
Yeah, especially if the zombie apocalypse happens. Yeah, I need to get a radio.
You're tripping.
Not just a radio, a ham radio.
A ham radio. Yeah, this guy was talking to people in England, right? Or Australia?
England. I've got a couple in Australia, Ireland, like the one guy in Japan, a couple places in Africa, and just random places around the world.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's and speaking of technology, I was listening to a podcast today where, speaking of lost arts and dying technology, where deaf people, blind people, gosh, now they can, there's these apps where you can take a picture of words and it'll speak it to you, so you kind of don't need Braille anymore. But then they're not learning how to spell. So when they're trying to communicate with people through words that they're trying to type, even if it is Braille, they have no idea what to do. So it's kind of like there's a yin and a yang to these technological advances, including the internet, which, and to bring it circle back around to parenting, if you give your kid free run on the internet just because they're entertained and you don't have to deal with them, then you're an asshole. And if you're not teaching your kids about, the dangers of drugs, and if you're not hiding your drugs and guns, then you're an asshole. There's a lot of bad parenting. If you're at Walmart and you're on your phone and your kids are running up and down the aisle and they're causing fucking ruckus, then you're an asshole too. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah, man. I mean,
kid running around the table and shit, man. Back in my heyday, Mom would have been like, "Get your ass in that seat and sit down."
None of that for me either. I'm with you, man. A lot of negligent parents, like I work with them, I see these parents come in and it's sad, it doesn't matter how rich or poor they are, man. A lot of parents don't give a fuck. And I can see how all these issues happen. So. Yeah.
Well, all right, let's talk about the wall now. We're not done on Donald Trump yet.
Okay.
How effective would a wall be, and would we need more than that? If say that, Darin, I'll let you pick this one up, because I got to turn on this light here. I think we would need a wall and like some underground technology, and then some above ground, maybe infrared. What do you think?
That's what Trump's plan consists of. Sounds good to me, man. It's something that needs to be done, and I was real impressed with the meeting that he had with the Nieto that he had with the Mexican president the other day. It was actually pretty constructive. The media butchered it today. They made, if you said that, and if you go look back at the news conference, it's like, oh, that's not even close to what was said out of either one of their mouths. But They both seem to be working together on it, and the door is open. Everybody's big question was, well, who's going to pay for the wall? Well, that hasn't been really discussed yet. Trump wants them to pay for it. I'm not 100% sold on they're going to pay for it. There's ways to make them pay for it, but
well, that's what he said. I mean, and what do you think about his visit with Felipe Calderon? That's who the president is, right?
No, Nieto.
Oh yeah, he's out.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. I thought the meeting was very constructive. They both got out and they made their press conferences side by side. They seemed to have met pretty close to eye. They had a few disagreements on some things, but they were acknowledging that, hey, we're seeing eye to eye. We got problems with the drugs, the cartels, illegal immigration, jobs, money flow. You know, they gave out numbers about $6 billion a year going south and X billion dollars a year coming north, and the trade needs to be there, which is good. They're right. But there has to be a stop on this influx, not just for immigration that's dealing with our economy and their economy, because it's taking people away from there that are producing and putting them here, and vice versa. It's driving jobs out. And the other big thing they talked about was the cartels and the drug issues and the violence that are on the borders are coming back and forth. They both seem to be in agreement that the wall does need to be made, but I think the big question now is, are they really going to pay for it? They don't want to, but let's be realistic here. Trump kind of sounds like an asshole when he says, hey, they're going to pay for it. But we are the United States. We have a very large economy. We run the show. I'm not that we're any whatever. We protect them. Our military is their military. That whole continent down there is ours. We own it. Nobody attacks it. Why? Because we're right up north. That bitch is ours, no matter what they say. They can give you all this, oh, I feel bad for the people of this, that, and you're like, yeah, we're still covering your ass. Shut up. So, in the long run, I have my doubts, and then I have reasoning that says maybe they could, because Trump, hey, man, he's got a way to work this stuff out. I mean, he might say, hey, you're going to pay for it now, but in 15 years from now, after that's paid off, you guys are going to be making this much profit per year for benefiting from this. You know, you're gonna, it's gonna suck now, but 10 years down the line, you're gonna be loving it. You're gonna be adding another $10 billion to your, economy or whatever. So
what was his strategy again to say that he's gonna force them to pay for it by? Was it like not having make it illegal for employers to hire illegals, or what was his method? Because I thought it was a pretty good idea. If we're gonna make them pay for it, I just can't remember.
Not hiring illegal immigrants that's already illegal here in the United States. You can't hire somebody undocumented.
Well, they don't enforce it though.
Right, they don't enforce it. That's a problem. That's a problem that needs to be addressed. But he was talking about tariffs, and he blows all this. And this is where I don't like Trump. Like I'm a Ted Cruz guy. Now, obviously, I'm supporting Trump because he's about 80% of what for the most part, what I believe in. But I can tear him apart when it comes down to being true conservative. Tariffs is a big government, basically tax. Oh, we're going to put taxes on these companies down there. We're going to put taxes on their goods to come into our country. Well, okay, so you're going to put a 35% tax on their goods. Great. That's how you're going to pay for the wall? Wrong, because now their prices just went up 35%. We pay for it. That's a big smokescreen. That's a bunch of bullshit. You put a tariff on something, that's like saying you're a business owner. Okay, so basically I'm going to put a tax on you. I'm going to put a 35% tax on you. What are you going to do to counter that increase in price on your end? You're going to raise your prices 35%. That's just how it works. We, the people that are taking those goods, are going to pay that 35% on the back end. Ultimately, it'll be us. But the smoke screen that he's throwing up right now is them. If he does the tariff way, which is a big government program that I do not like, that's how that's going to get done. And ultimately, it's going to be us if he does the tariff route.
Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I think the whole cheap labor argument for me is that I think we've got enough to cover the cheap labor already, and they've kind of gotten into other areas in the workforce with the people that make the argument for, oh, well, they're not going to do the jobs that Americans don't want to do. And granted, yeah, there's a lot of I see a lot of farm workers out here, and that's a crazy way to make a living. You know, they're just in the fields all day long with the hats on and pants and full sleeves. And I'm just like, whoa, yeah, I definitely would not want to do that. But that being said, I mean, how many millions of them are there to? And then there's a whole argument of like, yeah, we got to take some into just for a value of life for other people, but it's not black and white. There's a long and a short to everything. There's a bunch of gray area. It's tough. You know, what do you do?
It is tough, and people's emotions get in the middle of it. And I kind of separate myself from that, and some people think I'm an asshole for it. But I can see where they can come from, but I try and remove my emotions from my thinking. I might get pissed off at times and get frustrated and say some things I shouldn't say. But when you come down to it, like when I'm looking at this thing, I'm thinking statistics. I'm looking at a map. I'm looking at spots on a map. I'm not even thinking of people. I'm thinking if you move these many spots this place, this many spots this way, it opens up over here, creates more of this. I don't even look at people. I see dots on a map as a strategy to think about things like that, where people are getting, oh, I feel bad for these guys. You know what? I feel bad for a lot of people, but we're in some deep shit, and something needs to be done, and somebody's got to be an asshole. Straight up. Somebody's got to call it like it is and say, oh, this is a bunch of bullshit. You're robbing us blind. Get the hell out. Somebody has to do that.
Right. Robbie, you got anything to say before we move on to how the Star Spangled Banner is racist?
All right. I'd say, forget the idea of the wall. Why don't we just bring all the troops home from overseas? And I'm pretty sure some comedian said this one time. And just put all the soldiers at the wall, at the border. You know what I mean? If that's we feel such a big issue, let's start getting out of all these useless wars. Let's give our soldiers something to do. Let's have them stand on the border like South Korean soldiers. And if you can get past that, you're in. Kudos.
Wow, I did hear that from someone.
Bienvenidos a Estados Unidos. If you can get past the 100,000 fucking armed soldiers we have lined up from fucking here to wherever the other side is. You know what I mean? But that to me would be something. A, we stop making enemies overseas. B, you know what I mean? We give something for our soldiers to do. There we go. And then we don't have to build a wall. We got soldiers there.
That's an interesting point, because that's an American first policy. For
shits and giggles, put them at Canada too.
Yeah, just so they can't call us racist.
Yeah, so they can't sneak up on us.
We don't just own Mexico either. We own Canada.
Yeah, they ain't doing nothing.
No continental area is ours.
We don't want Canada using our in and outs.
Right? I don't care if a Canadian comes in here illegal. Ship their ass back. Bye. Don't matter who they are.
So Darin, I think you're an interesting person to ask this now, since Rob just said, let's bring all the troops home. What do you think about that? Do we still need troops out there, or should we just carpet bomb all the ISIS territories and screw the civilians and let's just bring them all home? Or do you have a thought on that?
Bring the troops home? We have troops and bases and embassies and all this stuff strategically located throughout the world. You start bringing people home, that opens up a pocket that you see in the Middle East right now. They're capitalizing on what we gain. Russia. Okay, so we move, now all of a sudden Russia starts moving their stuff around and starts taking over their stuff. China's doing the same thing with the South China Sea. Over there in North Africa, all that stuff, that creates a window. We have all of our people home. That stuff goes amok, and that sets us up for disaster, because now you got Russia, you got China, you got Iran, you got all these people over there. They're freaking Sudan guys, they're Syrians, all these guys team up, and they attack the United States, and where we're at, sitting ducks. That can't happen.
Yeah, I don't see things as that crazy. I honestly, I don't. I think we're fed a lot of fear stuff. I think we're fed a lot of fear mongering because there's a lot of money in war. I think every country understands the more we create war, the better. I think there's a reason why all these countries are all in the Middle East doing the war, because that's the most profitable place on the planet, because you're only bombing people that nobody's really got too big of a heart for. You know what I mean? But nobody's, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's trying to, like, nobody's got the money to come over to America to do that. We still are the biggest badasses on the planet, and we still have tons of allies on this planet. So, you know what I mean? Like, so I think everybody knows the state to keep their nose out of areas where it's too tough for them. And I think they feed us a lot of these horrible concepts. I don't think we're as in fear. Like, I mean, look at all the Cold War we had all those years. What? Russia never came over here. You know, like,
but they're doing they're doing the exact same thing to us right now as we did to them in the Cold War. They're hacking our systems. They're bankrolling these a lot of these places. Like, some of these Black Lives Matter are getting traced to Russian funds and stuff like that to cause chaos amongst our society here.
In defense, doesn't Trump have ties to the Russians too, though? Isn't that the whole fear of him releasing his tax statements? Is because of his, because of the amount of money that he has coming in from Russia? Or because some of his associations with Russia?
I think Trump's just holding out his taxes just to say, hey, Hillary, kiss my ass. I think that's really all that is. Trump's that kind of guy.
I'm just saying there may be worth looking into that. I think I think Trump does have some Russian ties.
Yeah, he's got businesses all over the world.
Granted, I'm not saying Hillary probably does too. I don't know. And let's give Russia credit. They're housing Snowden. Thank God. That's one badass thing they did.
So what Darin is talking about is exactly the way that ISIS was created, was when we pulled out of Iraq. That's kind of where the hotbed of ISIS started. Is that correct? Darin, can you back me up on that, or am I just talking out of my ass?
Well, that's kind of the big part. But he was talking about bringing all the troops home, like as in nobody's out anywhere.
I'm saying, yeah, we stopped creating these enemies. Had we not been in Iraq initially, had we not gone in there falsely before, none of this would have happened. You know what I mean? Well, this is all because of our intervention.
Racially segregated, and we shouldn't have had slaves, and we shouldn't have done a lot of shit that we've done. But the fact is that we've done it, and now we have a problem on our hands. And so, how do we deal with it moving forward? I mean, we've made a lot of mistakes.
But we're making twice as many mistakes now, just the drone deaths alone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're murdering, you know what I mean? These drone deaths are killing tons of people. We're making new martyrs. We're creating new enemies. We're going to have the same issue 20, 30 years from now. 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be dealing with these same issues because we're not finding ways to get out of issues. You know what I mean? If you're constantly dipping your nose into some shit that I don't think our country really understands. I think that Middle East shit is some stuff we don't understand. I
understand. There's a lot of people that don't understand it. These people are bred hot. They're taught, and their object is to kill the infidel. Christians, anybody that is not of Islam with around the world, they will kill you. Make no mistake about it. They have an opportunity in a hole. They are coming after your ass. They're going to throw you in a cage. They're going to set you on fire. They're going to throw you in the same cage and drown you. They're going to cut your head off on national TV to show you're the infidel, and this is what happens when you're the infidel. They're going to rape your women. They're going to rape your children. They're going to do all that stuff. Not all Muslims are that way, but 10 million of them are, and they're nasty. Yeah. They are moving. They're moving across North Africa. They're spreading all. They got a big, huge problem in the UK now, all over there in Europe, and
France has a huge problem right now.
These people are not. It's not. You get a whole aspect of religion, but as far as I know, the Islamic religion is the only one on the planet that can get misinterpreted into violence and actually people acting on it. I don't see Buddhists going around cutting people's heads off. I don't see Christians going around cutting people's heads off.
Now, in defense, Christianity did this, but it was years ago. You know what I mean? So with indulgences and burning witches and things of that sort. I think
but that's not what we're dealing with today. We're not dealing with violent Christians. We're not dealing with violent, whatever religion that you might want to. I'm not worried about Hasidic Jews right now. The Muslims are the problem. And to keep bringing up the past, it doesn't.
Listen, to not bring up the past is ridiculous, because if you can't learn from the past, then You know what I mean? If you can't bring up examples of the past, then you're just going to repeat the same mistakes. So paying attention to history is one of the most, relevant things you can do, because we can see how these issues were dealt with in the past. We can see how people were educated in the past, and we can see how people evolved past things in the past. But to say that it's irrelevant to look at the past could be missing a huge opportunity. I mean, we should be looking at all aspects of everything. This is something that shouldn't be just as quick as to say, don't look at anything. We should be looking at all avenues. This is a serious issue here. This is you're absolutely right. This is serious. We do not understand it. This is spreading. This is something you cannot stop with you know what I mean? These are
the
just
biggest religion in the world that has more members than any other religion has ever had.
Yes. Percentage-wise, it's
10% of them kind of side with Sharia law, and what percent of that 10% is willing to do these heinous acts that we now see it happening across America?
But America has, again, and there's all these interventionist stuff. There's all this stuff where we make deals with Saudi Arabia, and they're hanging people for selling weed. So, we're still picking and choosing and dealing with people who are doing fucked up shit and then calling people out in other areas. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy going on that when you really get down to it, a lot of these people are pissed off at that. And just, a lot of these people get their guns and stuff either from us, like he said, or from Russia. You know what I mean? There's so much bad stuff going with us being over there. They just had that thing recently where they said since 2011, there was a good percentage of guns that they had left over there and given to people, and all those guns have been taken, confiscated, and now being used by militant groups now. You know what I mean? We're getting killed by our own weapons now. It's
that was our training. And that was what Benghazi and Libya and all that stuff was about. And that's getting covered up right now. They're running guns through Benghazi, and they're trying like hell to cover that up. That's why Chris Stevenson lost his life. They're running guns into Syria through Libya. And what happens with these this policy of, we have to ask them, say, hey, stop that, please be nice, and thinking that's actually going to work against people that want to cut your head off. And leaving, we have dropped our resources, and the people we were training, we pull out, and we leave them to hang with our guns. Those people run away from those guns, and the guy gets them. We should have held on to that. We gave up.
We try and train these people to try and be allies with them to combat our enemy with us, but then we don't know when they're going to turn, or if they're going to turn. With Afghanistan, I think it was a little different. I'm not sure how many. Because we just kind of got out of Afghanistan. We're like, all right, see you later, guys, and here's a couple guns. But we don't know. And a lot of times when we're bringing aid to these countries, ISIS or Al Qaeda or whoever could be stealing them.
Exactly. Yeah. You read all kinds of stuff on these guys that, a convoy got overtaken. Not necessarily our guys, but, we would drop weapons off to these guys that are, the Afghan, what's the name of it? The army we're working with over there. I don't know. There's so many of these freaking yabba dabba doos going on. I don't know. The ones we're working with over there, we drop the stuff off, the bandages, the aid, the food, the freaking munitions, and this, that, and the other, and okay, here you go, protect your stuff. We leave and go back to our base, and then on the way over there, these guys get jacked by the freaking Taliban or ISIS or whatever they are now. They take our stuff.
Yep.
Why? Yep. Because we don't have troops on the ground to tell them, hey, fuck you, this is ours, kiss our ass. Boom.
Well, we don't have enough people to spread over the world. You know what I mean? We have people everywhere, and it's too spread thin. It's either fully commit to it, and then again, a lot of these times we're not in these countries for genuine reasons. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shady shit going on in these spots when we get over there. And that's the whole bad part, is there's not genuine thought going into this. You know what I mean? If there's genuine, concern, we would have been helping countries like Liberia. And, you know what I mean? There's so many forgotten countries that we don't go into because there's no, financial advantage of that. And I think these countries understand that. And I think these politicians get in there, they do something for some sort of shady reason, and then by the time they're out of office, somebody else is left to deal with that. And then, at one point we can't stay everywhere forever. You know what I mean? But we're trying to, and then people get spread thin, and we keep starting new wars, and it's just too many places. If we weren't in all these places to begin with, the shit wouldn't be coming back to bite us in the butt now. And if we just protect ourselves, if we just have people protecting here, nobody ain't getting here if all those soldiers are here. If we sit here and protect ourselves, and we have Britain, the greatest, historically the greatest navy. I don't know how they're doing now, but we have our allies. We're still the strongest people in the world. And fuck it, let's fight. Let's just start going to other planets. We're already on the way to Mars. Let's just colonize Mars.
Oh man, that's a whole nother. I think that's going to be next week. Mars. I really want to talk about that. So here I have an idea. Why don't we take all of the people from Mexico that want to come here, and we send them to go to places like Afghanistan and Iran. Say I got to serve about 3-4 years in the military, and then boom, you get out and you're legal.
I think that's a great idea.
2 birds, 1 stone.
I don't know how. That's happening.
Is it?
They're already doing that. Not necessarily illegals, but there's a lot of people gaining entry coming up through. I mean, not just Mexico. I mean, they're coming in from the African continent, Europe. They're coming through there and they're joining our military and going up. That's how they're gaining their citizenship. I got no problem with it.
And South Korea has a great policy of 2 years military. Yeah, I think people will learn a lot from that. Our younger generation, especially, the iPad and Xbox generation needs to fucking get out and do something. Needs to see the world a little bit. Get some discipline. It's all going downhill with the younger generation in my eyes. That's a whole nother.
I was talking to somebody a couple of months back, and it was kind of an interesting thought I had with the military. You look at obviously our economy's jacked up. We're shelling out more than we're taking in, and welfare is being abused. All these EBT, all this, 49% of the country is on some sort of welfare. So I was talking to somebody, and I was talking, what if we made it mandatory if by the time you're 20, you don't have a job or you're not in school, you're in the military. You get fed, you get housed, you get clothed, you learn something, you get all these things, and plus you go serve. It gives you a little bit of responsibility, and it gives you a little bit of I'm going to go out and get something when you come back, like you want to go out and earn something, and that's kind of we're paying for the military anyway. Why pay for the welfare and stuff like that? Or at least, granted, you can't take welfare away from people that are like 60 and stuff like that and go tell them to go jump out of an airplane. But I'm talking about the younger generation that, instead of paying them on this welfare stuff, you're in the military. Israel does it. Everybody's got to serve over there. I think men got to do 4 and women got to do 2 over there, I think. But it's the same concept. I mean, why pay a military to do all this stuff and welfare for that age bracket at the same time when we can take that, put them over there, and it's all in one blanket, and it's all paid for, and they're actually doing something for it rather than sitting on their ass playing their Xbox?
But that's still like money. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't clear up our money issue. Like if they're on welfare, how much does it cost to pay them? I mean, how much do we pay them in welfare a month, and how much does it pay to house, ship, feed? You know what I mean? Like a soldier. You know what I mean? Like it's money for money. Like it's still money. Like
there's enough.
We're still not taking care of money.
There's enough welfare incentive to not work.
No, there's not, because the 3 of us or any of us in this chat on welfare. Like, because if so, we wouldn't work.
If somebody was, they wouldn't.
I guarantee you, like, I have family members on welfare, and I see the life they live, and nothing about their life I want to live like that. And I don't even make that much money. I work for the school district. I get paid once a month, and I don't make crazy amount of money, and I don't have crazy amount of benefits. But I would still rather do this than ever sign up for welfare. You know what I mean? Like
that's you. That's you, and that's good.
But if there was enough money on welfare, if you told me I could make more money on welfare than I could right now, then I would be on welfare. I'd be like, oh hell yeah! It's not enough money. It's not enough good. Like it isn't. It's not beneficial.
I've looked at studies like that, and they broke down. I believe the state of California The average welfare per hour, a person that's fully on welfare is like $17 an hour.
Yeah, see, that's a lie. And you just got to know somebody on welfare. So it's not worth reading something. Just go meet people on welfare. You know what I mean? $17 an hour on welfare. Like, it's an impossibility. Like,
how many hours is a work week?
Yeah, is that a 2-hour work week? Like, I have relatives on welfare, literally. Like, a majority of them. More of my relatives are on welfare than have been to college. That is an absolute fact in my family. And it's a continued thing in my family. I'm not proud of them for that. I am not sitting there like revering them for that. I can see what the issue is in that. But the reason why these people are on welfare, I really honestly think is because we want them on welfare. Like, honestly, like if you look at the way the education system works in ghettos as opposed to the education system in nice areas, we're breeding these kids to fail. Like we're hoping these kids fail. We want these kids constantly there. Like there's an advantage to having that. We want to keep these kids in the ghetto. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason why there's such a disparity in the education system. There's a reason why if you have a public education and you go to school in Mission Viejo in Orange County, as opposed to going to a bad area in East LA, that you have literally separate classes you can take. Literally same public education, but literally these kids over here in the nice area have a lot more classes available to them than the kids in the bad area. We literally are teaching them separate stuff. And so we're breeding these things out of them. If we don't want these kids out there, we'd be giving them better examples. We'd be teaching them about how to get out of these ghettos. We'd be helping them out. I went to high school in East LA, and I was an exception case. And I could tell you for a fact. Huh?
Not an exception. You're your own man. You did it yourself.
Well, no, listen, it was 90% my mom getting on me. And my mom is the amazing one. Like, I was just fortunate enough to be born with a mom who was one of 7 kids who was a drug kid, who was the only one that, like, was able to escape, you know what I mean, those bad things. 1 out of 7. And then she forced me to, like, keep my head straight. She was educated. She was able to do that. And even though she worked a lot, you know what I mean, she was able to do that. But not everybody has that same opportunity that I had. Not every kid in my high school had a mom that was, like, constantly on them and stringent and telling them and this and that and this and that and helping me get extra education and supplementary education so that I could go to UCI. But, you know what I mean? A lot of these kids weren't fortunate enough to have that. But it's weird because I work in a school district now where these kids are given that. These kids are giving better classes. These kids are giving opportunity. They're learning about ways to do different things. And it's not necessarily that college is the way. You know, I mean, they're just learning ways of advancing themselves in life, how to manage a checkbook, how to manage an account, economics, things of that sort. And I'm telling you, I promise you for a fact, at my high school, I was not given those same opportunities. I really, really, really think the reason why we have this issue with these people in these ghettos and these people recycling themselves in these areas is because we want them doing that. There is profit. There is an idea of keeping these people in the ghetto, so we're not ruining the opportunity.
Are you sure it's not city members siphoning money out of and county members siphoning money out of?
You know what, Travis?
Should have gone to.
The whole California education system is going under a really big thing right now. It's not that I mean, it's in the newspaper, but most people wouldn't hear about it unless you work for the school district. All this money that these schools have been getting to give the kids for, the kids who, you know, like when you have kids that make lower income and they give them money for lunch and shit like that and for programs, it's been found out in like every school district that they've been using the money for other things as opposed to using them for the kids and for the education system. You're absolutely right. They're misusing this money.
$300,000 a year paycheck to the superintendent?
That's some shit. And the school union. Don't even get me started on the teachers union and how bad that is. Like, listen, I'm all about restructuring and breaking down the whole school system and starting over again because this shit is broken.
I agree. I totally agree.
My mom was in the school district for over 30 years, so I'm very, very familiar with that stuff and the unions and all that and how they're shafting everybody.
Yeah, they're not good. I tried to opt out of the union. You know what I mean? They won't let me.
You can't.
Like,
not the state of California, man. They will have your head.
You're absolutely right.
All right, so let's explain that a little bit. So why did you try and get out of the union, and why wouldn't they let you?
When you sign up for the job, they start telling you all these union dues that you owe and all this union stuff. And then I was like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, it looked like there was a couple of advantages. But as I started working there, I started noticing, like, I couldn't do certain things. Like, I wanted to get 2 jobs within a school district, and they wouldn't allow me to have that. Like, the union. is the one that blocked me from doing that. They wouldn't let me work over a certain amount of hours. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, how are you guys blocking it? And there's all these like little rules that the union did. And then like 6 or 7 years ago when when we had that economy, you know, when everything went down and California, the state of California had their issues, they ended up taking our raises away. Our union had fought to get us quarterly raises, and the union just let them take our raises away. They didn't even fight them so that we could keep our raises we had 5 years of not getting raises. We had 5 years where they got rid of positions and were just firing art teachers and shit. And the union wasn't fighting for that. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have one job and you didn't do it. Like really, you're taking the arts out of school? The arts. Like the thing that kids love the most. Like, the thing that stimulates
that's the funnest. That was the funnest shit for me. I went to school for music. I mean,
like just the one 45-minute to an hour time during the day that a kid just gets to express themselves. You know what I mean? Fuck that. You know, let's get that out. We don't need that. Let's teach them Common Core math.
Oh wow, that's a whole other thing. So
let's make recess longer.
And yeah, the crazy part about the unions is that it's hard to fire a teacher that is clearly not doing their job properly. If I don't do my job properly for 1 week, I'd probably be fired, but not a whole year or 2 years or what. And Darin, you said your mom was involved. Do you have how can you expand on maybe the problems of our educational system as it stands right now?
Well, I wasn't in, like I said, my mom was in the school district for 30-some odd years. I grew up around teachers. I grew up around health clerks, office secretaries, principals, all that stuff that would come in from different schools because they'd come over once in a while when I was younger. They'd do a girly hot dog boil in the backyard, or cook in the backyard and drink some wine or whatever. And I hear all the gossip. It's all a bunch of bullshit. They put on the dog and pony show. Yeah, I'm in the union. And they all get back to the house and they talk shit about how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's
what I see, to Rob's point about the whole keeping these people where they're at. I don't know. You follow my Facebook a little bit, but I've been pushing for years about this modern day slavery stuff. They're keeping people in their sections. They're giving them welfare. They're giving them they're putting a roof over their head, and they're teaching them, and they're keeping them right there, rather than giving them incentive to go out and go, I'm above welfare. I'm gonna go work my ass off, and I'm gonna do 10 times what welfare would ever pay me. You know, and work. That's why I'm impressed with Rob here. You know, he's talking about where he grew up and all this stuff, and he's describing his surroundings around him, but he made it out because of his mom. Because the parent was there. The parent was on his ass telling him, get your shit together. You're not going to do this crap.
Yep.
Get up there. You're going to do good.
Yeah.
Heard a lot of great things about that woman.
Yeah.
That is great. And that's what it's all about to me. And the biggest problem is the parent and being able to separate the parent from the school. The school has its job. This is your job only.
100%.
Parent has this job. Bam, on your out. You fucked up at school. Boom. Oh, no, you hit him on the back of the head. Bullshit. Smack that kid in the head.
Yeah, I agree. The parent, you know what I mean?
Give him a nice crack and get his attention. Done. You know?
I totally agree.
As far as... And the whole... Oh, man, there's so much I can go off.
It's all right, man.
Liberalism. It's liberalism. Here you go. We're going to give you just this much, so we'll just keep giving you your votes and keep you right where you're at and keep coming back so I can keep feeding you. Bullshit. I want you to go feed me. I want you to do better. I want you to frickin' drive a jet plane if you want to work that's fucking 2 miles up the road. Take that fucking 747 off, park that shit in the parking lot if you want. Yeah, it's a big-ass plane in a little tiny parking lot. That'd be cool as shit because you could. You know?
Yeah, I think if we could fire shitty teachers, do you like understand, like in my high school, one of our administrators, so one of like the higher up guys at the school was a previous teacher that wasn't allowed to be a teacher anymore because he impregnated one of his students. And the only reason we found that out was because he impregnated one of the girls my senior year in high school. So he had done it again, and his wife came and exposed him because the union had the school district had just moved him to another school, and they didn't put him in a classroom. So now he's like got a power position. And that's what happens in the school district is we keep kids around horrible fucking people. And we don't promote teachers that do well. We should have an incentive system where if your kids are fucking badass, then you get paid more. And if your kids suck, fuck you, you're fired, you're out of here. And then we'd start producing a lot better Americans. Like,
I am all for getting that union out, and just like the private sector, pay by performance. You perform well and your students do great, dude, you got one hell of a raise coming.
Yeah.
Your students are down here instead of up here for the last 4 years. Yeah, you're not getting a raise. Matter of fact, we're trying to look for somebody to replace your ass because you suck.
Listen to how dumb this shit is. I tutor kids in math. I tutor Common Core with kids. So Travis, I don't know if
you can understand that.
Common Core yet.
What the fuck?
Well, we'll go back to Common Core, but continue, Rob.
But so, anyways, when I helped a kid on their homework once, and I showed them how to do multiplication, but I didn't show them the method of Common Core, and the teacher marked him wrong. So this kid had done the multiplication right, had the right answer, but because he didn't do it the laid out goofy way the teacher wanted him to do it, they was giving it wrong. So that's what's weird in our education system today. It's not, hey, however you get this, if you use your fingers, if you use Common Core, if you use memory, however you get the answer, let's just reward you. Good job, you kid. You know what I mean? No, you have to do it this way because we're trying to teach kids dumbed down ways of things. And I think there's a really distinct reason why we're doing that. I don't think that's accidental.
And you're right. And they call it, they talk about the Clinton machine. They call it the liberal machine. It just keeps pumping this out, pumping this out, pumping this out, pumping this out. It's a system. It creates all these dependent voters that look at that, where in the real world, you and I would look at it and go, okay, 5 times 5 is 25.
Yeah.
You have all these freaking steps down to do all this shit with Common Core, and then they mark it wrong because they didn't do it the way they commanded you to do it. No, that's bullshit. The answer's still the same no matter what way you got there. The end game is still the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird.
That's the hell out of me.
When I see it, I don't even understand it. I don't even understand, what the hell's going on. Because I was always able to do it in my head. So the Common Core, to me, it's like, what the fuck? You know, I mean, how far does it go? Do they do long division, fractions, decimals, and, is it easier when you get to that later stuff? Okay. Because, the examples that I've seen are really dumb. So, all right, fill me in. Break it down.
Okay, so instead of telling a kid 6 times 6 is 36, you would tell a kid, hey, listen, if you get 6 apples and put them into 6 groups, how many apples do you have? You know what I mean? And a kid would have to draw that out. And you have these really weird drawn-out ways. So instead of telling a kid that 72 divided by 8 is 9, you know what I mean? You would have this weird chart and a breakdown, and you would split it up. You know what I mean? So it's literally just teaching a kid. You know how when you're a kid, you're like, how does this apply to my life? You thought that about math until probably if you ever got into, senior year calculus, then maybe you were like, oh, okay, I see how this applies. But other than that, math never really seems to apply to your life until, like you said, you get into the real world. Well,
your bank account.
Yeah, and they give you word problems that don't make sense because they're always like, well, this Johnny's going on a train this way. And you're like, I've never even been on a train. Why is Johnny, and who's this fucking Johnny? I don't even know any kids named Johnny. You know what I mean? So it's just weird. And so instead of that, it's literally telling you what the purpose of things are. But some kids, like myself, learn better when you just tell me 6 times 6 is 36. Yeah, I just don't fucking bore me to death. As soon as you tell me that, I memorized it. You know what I mean? I was one of those kids. So basically, instead of catering to the smarter kids, which is what we had as kids, you know what I mean? The teacher catered to the smarter kids. The best kids did well. The lower kids got passed back and had to do it again. Now they're catering to the lower kids. Now it's, hey, if you're the slowest kid in the class, I'm catering to you. We're going to make sure you get it. But now these smart kids are bored. So now they're the issues in class. You know what I mean? So remember when we were younger, the issues in class, the kids that initially started getting put in ADD medicine and Ritalin were the kids that were slower. You know what I mean? Those were the problem childs because they were so lost They couldn't keep up with what was going on, so they became problem children. And then teachers started getting them medicated and horrible things like that. Well, now the issues are the kids that are the smarter kids because they're so bored in class because it's such a long process. And instead of a teacher being able to say, hey, listen, you can either memorize 6 times 6 is 36, or you can learn that 6 apples in 6 different baskets equals 36. Either one of those you can learn. Instead of saying that, the teacher is saying, okay, you can only do this way now. And it makes no logical sense other than we're trying to create dumbasses.
That doesn't help anybody, man. That upsets me. That upsets me big time.
And the teachers are not given the freedom to not do that. That's the worst part. You have these teachers that are amazing characters. I work with some people that are just ready to jump in a school district, these mavericks. You know what I mean? These people that are ready to educate kids and they just want to change lives, and they have all these cool methodologies. And those principals and administrators get in those teachers' rooms and shut that shit down and say, no, F you. This is what you teach the kids. This is how you teach them. This is what they're going to be taught. This is what they're going to do. You get zero freedom. You get zero freedom.
And what what school district? Well, maybe you don't want to say what school district that you work for.
I wouldn't.
I mean, 100 people might listen to this.
I wouldn't mention it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's again, I work at a good school district. You know what I mean? Like the kids, it's the classes, the opportunities the kids have at a higher level are better. You know what I mean? So if a lot of these parents in my school district give their kids supplementary education because they can afford to. There's this thing called Kumon. There's all these different little programs.
Dude, Kumon, those motherfuckers back in the day used to do shit like that, like lickety, like Common Core. We need to be teaching these people fucking Kumon.
Yeah, I mean, they're still around. It's
a flavor of lunch or what?
I grew up in Cerritos. Around a bunch of Asians, so I know what Kumon is. They were the best in math in the class by far. Easy, the kids that did Kumon, and you knew who they were because they would walk up and turn in their math test light years before everyone else. Talking about Star Wars, fucking light years before everyone else.
Yeah, basically you educate your kid outside of school. Basically you send your kid to school for socialization skills and for minimal education and to get him in the system. But then outside of school you educate him. And that's what my mom did with me too. So I didn't have Kumon, but I had something similar to that. And that's why in 10th grade I was in calculus. You know what I mean? Like, that's why in 11th grade I was in my second year of calculus. Like, that's why I was able to have those advancements because my mom gave me. No. I took trigonometry pre-calculus during the intermission of 9th and 10th grade. I was in calculus A, B for my sophomore year, and I was in calculus BC for my junior year. And I was at Occidental College for my senior year. So yeah.
Yeah, I always kind of dog-dicked it because I never wanted to be in those classes, even though I probably...
Hey, listen, it's not the end-all be-all. I really wish they would stop spreading the idea that education is the only way for things to happen. Look at all these like entrepreneurs now and all these great human beings and these genius minds that chose a different path. You know what I mean? We should be encouraging kids to do arts. We should be encouraging kids to do, just to pursue their dreams and shit like that. Like, I wanted to be an artist my whole fucking life, dude. And because I was good in math, my teachers would steer me away from that all those years. So I ended up at a college frustrated out of my mind and as a computer science major, just ready for my head to explode because they pushed me somewhere I didn't want to be. You know what I mean? So it's like now it's 14 years later. Now I'm 35 and I'm back in school for art, which I initially wanted to do. So it's like I really wish instead of saying, hey, you should be a mathematician or a lawyer or this, we should be like, hey, what the fuck do you want to do? Yeah, pursue that.
There's not enough of that going on. There's not enough pursuing. Everybody wants to go in and get this damn liberal arts degree and then call it good like there's some kind of rocket science. And it's a bunch of crap, dude. Go do this, go do that. No, like me, for example. I consider myself a fairly smart dude. I can do a little bit of everything, man, but I'm a guy. College, no, not my thing, man. I put my hands on something that's broke, I can fix it. And if I don't know how to fix it, I can figure it out. That's just the way I am. You give me
a form of intelligence
across the room. That's just the way I'm built.
So Darin's got to be on the mission to Mars.
No,
we can talk about.
We need to preserve people like that, okay? But that's a form of intelligence. But they would never let you know that in school. They would never tell you in school that being able to fix shit is a major form of intelligence. You know what I mean? Like, that is a major quality in life, but they will never sit there and tell you, hey, if you can manipulate the common object, you are a fucking better person in our society. You know what I mean? Like, it's so weird. They never bring in mechanics for Hero Day. Like, for Hero Day, like, one of the parents at our school was like some rich dude, and he had a Lamborghini, and he brought all the kids out there to see his Lamborghini, and so they could see how cool this guy was. I was like, fuck that, dude. What about that dad over there that's fucking working his ass off and building shit? Bring the kids out there. That's my fucking hero. You know what I mean? The fucking guy that makes my goddamn car, I could never build one of those cars if you gave me every fucking part and you gave me every year for the rest of my life. My car would never be put together. like you my television right now. You give me all the pieces to my television on the floor, and if I don't have an IKEA how to put it together thing, that shit will stay fucking broken for the rest of my God-given life.
Well, I don't know. The rest of your life, you got a lot of time to start figuring some stuff out.
No, there's some point where I'm kicking the shit out of that TV and stomping it like that guy in fucking Office Space, okay? Like, there's one place where I'm frustrated out of my fucking mind for it. Listen, there's this. We have weird ideals. We have weird things in this country. We promote the wrong things. We don't promote individuality. We don't promote creativity. Right. Like, look at schools. Look at this, how we manipulate children. Like, when we give them music classes in school, think about when you went to music in school. What instruments did they give you? Accordion, flute, clarinet. They never show you instruments that kids like. They never show you guitars, drums. They never show you anything that would encourage a kid to get into music. They never let you do art that you like. They always show you artists like Picasso, Van Gogh and stuff. They never show kids comic book artists, things that they would appreciate.
The art that they showed you was like, what the hell, did somebody sneeze on that thing?
Yeah, and then kids grow up thinking, I don't want to be an artist, that's stupid. Look at those. They never show you Pixar artists, Disney artists, Star Wars artists, the guys that created. See, that dope shit.
My fiance did that at like the paint night a couple of weeks ago.
Wait, hold that up and then speak into the mic so we can see it.
Yeah. Let's see that again. I didn't get to see it long enough, dude.
Well, I don't know. She went out on a girls' night and did supposed to be a flower.
That's dope, dude. Tell her I like the color scheme and the blending.
Yeah.
Nice.
She brought it home and I was like, she saw the flower. I said it looked like a butthole.
Hey, it's art. It's interpretive.
No chill.
Yeah, maybe she's just out doing her thing. Whatever they do at like BJ's or whatever, girls go out and they have like a couple of beers and they have a paint night and they make shit. I don't know.
Yeah, they have grounds for that.
Right in the middle of the table, huh?
But I'm just saying, we're creating these zombies.
Yeah, you pay like $30. They give you the canvas and all the paint and the shit, and the little art instructor says, "Oh yeah, today we're gonna build a flower and blah blah blah."
Just buttholes. There's an episode of Bob's Burgers where he painted animals' buttholes. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember Good Burger, not Bob's Burger. What's Bob's Burger?
It's a cartoon on on Channel 11, Bob's Burgers. You never heard of it? It's on Netflix too.
Did you see F is for Family?
Oh hell yeah, that was amazing.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
Amazing.
Can you guys hear that?
I heard a little something.
What the hell? All right. Let's move on to some North Korea stuff and then do some shout outs and get the hell out of here. I just had some.
You just had some what?
I had something that popped up on my Google Chrome and it was blasting noise in my headphones.
Oh, got you. So we're talking about North Korea?
Yeah, let me read an article real quick. That's kind of what we do. I found one and I can't. It's gone now. Something about a backpack bomb. Here we go. The Independent, which I believe is a English publication. Yes, it is. So, the headline reads, North Korea, soldiers, quotations, armed with nuclear backpacks as tensions rise over U.S. South Korean military exercises. And they got some dudes, a couple thousand people goose-stepping. Elite North Korea soldiers are being armed with nuclear backpacks A source has claimed as tension increases over, damn it, I scrolled the wrong way, over the authoritarian state's attempts at military escalation. An anonymous source told Radio Free Asia special units have been formed since March to carry the weapons and had been taking part in simulated training exercises with dummy bombs. Outstanding soldiers were selected from each reconnaissance platoon and light infantry brigade to form the nuclear backpack unit the size of a battalion. The source from North Hamgyong province was quoted saying that supposed weapons were said to weigh between 10 and 30 kilograms and to be able to spray radioactive material, possibly uranium on the enemy. I don't think I need to read any more. It was impossible to verify the account given to Radio Free Asia, which is funded by the U.S. government. North Korea propaganda shows soldiers wearing rucksacks bearing a yellow and black radiation symbol during a parade celebrating the 70th anniversary of the National Workers' Party in October, with similar backpacks in 2013. So, before anyone else has been able to do so, North Korea has created a backpack nuclear bomb, and they are labeling it with a fucking radioactive symbol.
That is awesome.
This is why North Korea has a segment every time, because they do awesome stuff like this. I mean,
can we give them credit for having the best propaganda out there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, their propaganda is, I mean, they bring in, like, you know, the dude that wrote Lord of the Rings, like Tolkien comes in to write their fucking propaganda. Their shit is on a whole nother level.
I don't know. I'd go the other way, like Sharknado.
Okay.
Like it's so bad it's good.
Okay. Another epic movie, so I'm down with Sharknado. Yeah.
My 11-year-old wants to watch Sharknado, and she keeps bugging me about it, but I haven't watched it, so I don't know, and the reviews are like, no, it's not for people that age.
How old?
11.
Oh, yeah, I think she can watch that. Listen,
yeah.
I'm going to tell you, as far as movies go, kids are going to see it no matter what. The best thing is for them to be sitting right next to you when they're watching it. You know,
I don't want to watch that. I have a movie queue.
It's good. I like it. I like Sharknado. I've seen all of them. They're
probably just gonna get lit and then watch it.
They're funny because you recognize all the actors. You know what I mean? It's fun to see Ian Ziering and What Happened to Tara Reid, and you know, if you like Ann Coulter, she'll make an appearance, and if you watch the Stern Show, they make an appearance. You know.
So another paragraph. North Korea has made old World War II photos. That woman has some ass. North Korea has made considerable progress on weapons technology this year, including testing a submarine-launched missile for the first time. Oh, they just got to submarine technology. Thank you very much. But it is unclear whether its nuclear material has been developed into a warhead able to be mounted on a missile. No, it's not. And I go back to say it, half their country, my favorite slogan, does not have running electricity. So, and I mean, it's one of the things that I'd hate to be wrong about, but...
More than that, there's people starving in the streets. Dying in the streets, just sitting there. That guy needs to be taken out, and his country needs to be woken up. That guy is a murderous bastard.
I still think that's the worst place to live on the planet. Like, that documentary proved it.
Murderous bastard.
Those people are stuck in 1950. Like, that country has, like, nothing. No music, no nothing. Like, music.
You aren't allowed to create music there. That's fucked up. That is so fucked up.
All those people having to fake cry in the streets, or they're going to be jailed. Did you ever see the Korean prison camp documentary on Vice? When they have slaves literally in Russia that don't know they're not in Korea.
In China too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. China and Russia, and it's dark. The shit in that country is dark. And if he's really feeding motherfuckers the dogs.
I always go back to saying, like, I try and make this funny segment, but it's really not funny. It's comical. The shit that they do is comical, but it's not funny, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We can find some funny humor in there, but
it's funny, but their country is very, very sad.
Yeah.
I feel really, really bad for those people over there, man. They have no idea what's going on outside. They don't even know what the hell the internet is. It's shut off. They don't let him use it.
Yeah, that and the video of when the Vice went back to North Korea and they go to that internet bar and they just zoom in on that guy on the computer and he's just pressing enter over and over again. You know what I mean? Like, that's sad, dude. Or when it was like 140,000 people performing that show, and that show was just for Kim Jong-un. And these people's whole lives is dedicated to performing, to learning how to do gymnastics for one man. I mean, that's fucking dark, dude. And they don't even have food. They don't have seasoning. They don't know what a cheeseburger tastes like at McDonald's. They've never had a chicken nugget. They've never seen a Ninja Turtle. They've never heard.
Whoa. McDonald's is a terrible example.
Dude, when I was a kid, nothing was better than a chicken nugget than at McDonald's.
Okay, but I think when we were kids, McDonald's was different because I used to crave that shit too. But
They have real burger?
yeah, they're no longer using real chicken or real beef. Probably
white meat nuggets now. So ironically, the nuggets nowadays are better than the nuggets were when we were kids.
I know it's shit. I don't care. I eat anything. If I'm hungry, it's going in. I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah, I'll eat healthy when I can. Sometimes some chicken nuggets are bomb. And if I could never have had the ability to have a chicken nugget or a Cinnabon, that would suck.
Yeah, we're really privileged.
Yeah, like, fucking A, man. North Korea, holy shit. Could you imagine if your parents were horrible enough to have bred you there?
I know, and that's a topic me and Kenny went on length about. I think it was episode 20. Like, if you're a couple in Syria right now,
don't have sex unprotected.
I know, and it's not funny. It's like I posted it on Twitter, and someone got really fucking mad at me. I think she was Muslim, but the ultimate answer to the question is that you do, because who else? If people stop having kids, then no one else is going to be able to carry on your cause, which is let's get the fuck out of here. And even though if you have to bring some people into the world, into a fucked up environment, you're never going to get yourself out of there if you don't bring people that are going to fight for your cause.
Yeah, and
was kind of the ultimate conclusion that we came to.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. Plus, I mean, those people in North Korea don't know life sucks. Like, they don't know, they don't have perspective. They don't
have no idea.
It's a Truman Show. It's a Truman Show.
Zombies.
Don't they think Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-un defeated America? Like, wasn't that some of the shit? Like, they think that motherfucker's trouncing us.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think of some horrible places on the earth, but I think if you told me I had to live in Alaska with the shitty fucking 8-month suns and shit, I still think I would have to deal with that. And the bears over fucking North Korea. And you can tell me North Korea has epic weather. You can tell me it's like a big-ass Newport Beach. Like, I'm still like, no. Like, no music? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know about y'all, but I can't do that. I could not. No music, no art, no movies, no good food, no seasoning. Fucking chicken with no seasoning. Have you ever had chicken with no seasoning?
Yeah.
It's awful. My roommate cooks chicken with no seasoning. I can't make it through 2 bites. No salt, no shit.